Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy, Will Motivation, back with another video. And today, we are talking about my 2023 Subaru WRX, the South American spec in World Rally Blue. And that's right, so far I am loving this car. I've only had the car for about, 3 or 4 days so far with the car. But we're gonna do an exterior walk around, talk a little bit about the exterior styling, what I like, what I don't like. Then we're gonna take a look at the interior, and then we're gonna take it for a ride, and I'm gonna give you my driving impressions. But you're probably wondering, where are we right now in this beautiful scenery and this beautiful backdrop? We are in Medellin, Colombia, in Las Palmas, at a Mirador. So we're gonna actually show you what this looks like because it's kind of interesting. But first things first, let's talk about this here 2023 Subaru WRX. So from the side angle, the big sore thumb or the elephant in the room is the side cladding over the arches over the rear, the wheel wells. But that cladding, man, it's a point of contention. A lot of people are cool with it, but a lot of people don't like it. Me personally, in person it's not as bad as in pictures, but I do plan on painting that cladding to match the body color. So stay tuned for that. But if you ask me, what do I like about it? I actually like the side profile of the car, but I'm not really a fan of that cladding. So we're gonna have to do something with that. Stay tuned for the mods that I'm gonna do to the cladding. The wheels, I do like the wheels. Let's talk about the wheels. The wheels are actually 18-inch wheels. I think they should have put some 19s on here, but the style of the wheels is good. But I do believe some 19-inch wheels would look a little bit better. I did get the windows tinted, so you know that's the only mod cosmetically that I've done to the car so far. Now the cladding carries around to the back of the car, which just looks like a lot of plastic. I'm not a big fan of the rear end of this car. A lot of people say that these rear lights look like Civic lights, and I would have to agree. So I'm not a big fan. However, one thing I do like about the lights is this kind of futuristic crushed glass look on the inside of the lights. I think that's pretty cool. But I plan on painting some of this cladding gloss black and body color to give it a more aggressive look to it. I do like this rear lip on the back, but while we're back here, let's go ahead and open up the trunk. One thing I do like is you got a rear camera, so rear assist when you're parking, you got the camera, and then you got this little touch button, this little touchpad right there, and on that touchpad, that will release the trunk if you have the key. So as you can see, I got the exhaust ready to go. By ETS tuning, but you got a decent sized trunk in here, decent sized trunk. But you could probably put like 2 full-size bags in here, travel bags for your trip, and maybe a couple of backpacks. So trunk space is decent. Rear end, if I'm rating the styling of the rear end, I would give it I'd give it a 7 out of 10 for the rear end. From the side angle, like this angle right here, I give it an 8 out of 10, maybe 8.5 out of 10. But yeah, that cladding, man, we gotta fix that cladding. All right, let's go around to the front of the car. I gotta be careful because we're on a busy highway here in beautiful Medellin, Colombia, South America. So this is that South American spec. But let's talk about the front end of the car. What do you guys think? Drop a comment on what you think about the front end of the car. Again, it's got that cladding again. I'm gonna do something with this. I'm gonna paint it, but it's bearable. I also got a front end lip that I'm gonna put on here. Yeah, it needs some work. It needs some work. I do like the LEDs on the front end. LEDs, those are beautiful. And I love this World Rally Blue. It's also got the fog lights, and those LEDs are daytime running lights. So that is a nice little touch. You've got this functional hood scoop. So that's functional. So that's forcing air into the turbo intercooler. So speaking of turbo, this is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbo engine. So let's open up the engine. All right, so I just opened up the trunk. One thing I like is this got those little shock struts on it. So as soon as it released and I gave it a little upward force, it opened up by itself. So that's nice little touch. But here's the engine. Like I said, 2.4 liter turbo by Subaru. Now the previous version of the Subaru WRX was a 2.0 liter turbo. So you can see down there, it's a nice little engine that's got space. If you like to wrench on your own cars, I think this is a good choice. You got your battery up front, you got your computer. A lot of people are going to be tuning these cars. So you got your computer right there, easy to access. Yeah, man, nice little setup. I wanted to change up the scenery and maybe get a different look. So we're just about to talk about the specs on the power of the car, the specs on like the timing, that kind of thing. So how much power does this car have? 271 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds of torque. All right, so now you know what the horsepower and the torque is, but also how much does this car cost? This car starts out at a base price of $29,000, but can go up to roughly $36,000 if you like option it out, maybe with the CVT transmission, which is a little bit more expensive. Obviously this is the manual, but I'll show you the inside of the car here shortly. But what is the gas mileage on this car? This car gets 19 miles per gallon in the city and roughly 26 miles per gallon on the highway, which is a good thing because it's got a bigger engine in it now, a little bit more power, and but the gas mileage is roughly the same as the older last version of the WRX. So what other specs? A lot of people are wondering, what is the 0 to 60 time in a new WRX? The 0 to 60 time is roughly 6 seconds. So without a tune and mods on this car, it's definitely not the fastest car out there, but it does its thing. It's decent. All right, so let's talk about the interior of the Subaru WRX. And one of the things I like most, the rear seat, very roomy. So I'm roughly 6 feet 2 inches tall, but look how much space you have left. I'm gonna sit down in the car, and as you can see, I got plenty of leg room. I mean, it's not plenty, I won't say plenty, but it's very spacious for somebody that's 6 feet tall. I've got about an extra 2 inches over my head in headroom, so the headroom is good. You could comfortably fit 2 big people in the back and 3 small people in the back of this car. So I give it 2 thumbs up on interior space in the back. Let's talk about the interior of the front. So have a look at that. It's a manual. Look at the fake carbon fiber. Carbon edition, Richard Fang, you know what I'm talking about? So you got the carbon, you got your mirror control. You can fold the mirrors in. All of the windows are automatic up and down, which I love. Got a little space here to store some beverages. The stereo system is not the best. We're in Colombia. That's what, you know. I would buy something if I wasn't shooting a video. But let me show them the inside. Alright, so check it out. This is what it's going to look like from the cockpit. These are your controls for your stereo, left and right, and your center console. Let me show you what it looks like when it's turned on. Alright, there it is. That's what it looks like when it's on. Got all your dials, your gauges. This is in kilometers, so it's not 200 miles per hour, but 200 kilometers per hour. Got your gauges, your water temperature, all that good stuff. Your turn signal. It does have an annoying thing on the turn signal, right? So like once you click it to go a direction, to turn it off, you gotta click it back the other way, which is a little bit, it's got a weird feel to it. But it does have, like, if you just tap it, it'll blink 3 or 4 times, and then you can change lanes. You got your trunk release right here. You got your interior lighting. You got your traction control button. Now, here's something that a lot of people like, and that is this giant touchscreen for your infotainment and controlling like your heating and cooling. Let me take it back here. It's got Apple CarPlay, so I've got my phone hooked up with, you know, Apple or Google Maps right now. So of course you got your gauges up here, and you can change those. So if you switch, you know, it can be audio, or you can switch it over to oil temperature, your average speed, water temperature, that kind of thing, to monitor what's going on. You got these different apps and things, your radio, your media, phone, all your expected things. So I'm not going to do a review of this infotainment system, but I would say it's more than adequate. You got a couple of USB connections. In the States, there's a USB connector in the back, but in the South American version, there's no USB connections in the back. You've got an auxiliary input. What else? Of course, it's a 6-speed manual. Got 2 cup holders. You've got a little storage space here. It's a little plasticky on the inside, so it's not like a super high quality feel or anything like that, but you got your typical glove box. Like I said, the stereo system is not the best. I would give the stereo system a 6 out of 10. They could have done a lot better, especially nowadays with like Chevrolet, man, they're killing the stereo systems in the car. This particular car has cruise control, but it does not have adaptive cruise control. I think you need the CVT for that. But you got your controls for your infotainment system here in the dash. We'll do another video to talk about how those interact. But that is the interior of the Subaru WRX 2022. And I would give the overall interior, I would give it a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10 for the interior of this car. You know, it's more of a economic car or economical car, so it's not going to be super luxurious like a Audi or something like that, but for the price point, it gets the job done. Me gusta conducir este carro, es divertido. So we're inside the Subaru WRX 2023. This is the South American spec. Specifically, we're down here in Colombia. But from what I can tell, I have driven the 2022 Subaru WRX when I was in Ohio, where I'm from, in Columbus, Ohio. And I can't tell any difference between
black and black 5% pink up. AMG me factory pink up. No third party when me rims up. If I'm a Lamborghini no water hose up. Crick, crick. Bad mind the whole of them neck crick.
Alright, so a little interlude there. But yeah, from what I can tell, there's not much of a difference between there's not much of a difference between the US spec and the South American spec. So let's talk about it, man. First thing people want to know is, how does the acceleration feel? So we're in second gear.
Hazard reported ahead.
You do have,
life is full of obstacles.
You do have
them that matters.
You do have a little bit of turbo lag up until about 3,000 RPM. And it's weird because the way the tachometer is laid out. If you look at the tachometer here, right there, the way it's laid out, the 3 is like way up high. So when you're driving this car, it's a manual, of course. When you're driving this car, the goal is to keep the RPMs right around 3 or higher for the car to feel sporty. But if you're cruising on the freeway or something like that, which I hardly ever do down here, then you can have the RPMs lower to save on gas. But what would I give the acceleration on a scale of 1 to 10? I'd say I'd give it a 7.5. Now, I'm a little jaded because my daily driver is an Audi RS3 and an RS5, which have crazy power. You know what I'm saying? The RS3 is like power up top, RS5 is power down low. So I'm a little jaded, so I'll give this a 7.5. But for somebody that is just now getting into a more sporty car like a WRX, they're going to be impressed with the power. Now, what is that power? I mentioned it before in the video, but your horsepower is right around 260 horsepower, and your torque is right around the same, 250, 260 foot-pound of torque, which for a car of this size is really a good amount of horsepower and torque for the car. So your acceleration, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Next thing I like to talk about when discussing the interior, the driving characteristics of a car, I like to talk about the steering feel. While it is not the most sensitive direct steering, I don't think it should be. In my opinion, the steering in this car is perfect. It's not as responsive as some sports cars, but it is responsive enough for the type of driving that you'll likely be doing in a WRX, which is probably going to be a commuter, a fun commuter, or a car that you're going to haul around. It's got 4 doors, so the person that buys this wants something that's sporty, maybe to haul around their family and, grocery getter, that kind of thing. So your steering doesn't have to be race car ready. So if you ask me, on a scale of 1 to 10, the steering would be an 8.5 or a 9 for this kind of car. But for me, it's just right. It's not too heavy, it's not too light. It feels good. All right. So then we talked about the acceleration. We talked about the steering. So the next thing we should talk about is the braking, and that's something that's crucial. It's not so crucial in a lot of parts of the country in the United States where you got flat roads like in Ohio, but in a place where you got a lot of hills like here in Colombia, the brakes are super duper important. And I will say, so far, I haven't had to slam on the brakes that often. Roll this window so make sure you guys can hear me. I haven't had to slam the brakes, like to really brake hard that often.
Red light camera reported ahead.
Okay.
They're trying to do us dirty, and not in a good way.
We're riding with Christina Aguilera. But I would give the brakes on a scale of 1 to 10. The brake feel is excellent. The braking power is kind of like the acceleration. It's not a 10. It's not the strongest braking power, but it's adequate. So I would give the brakes a 7.5 as well, similar to the acceleration. I give the brakes a 7.5. They're adequate, but not super strong. Okay, so this is a perfect time to talk about the clutch feel. So right now we're in traffic here in Medellin, Colombia, and we're driving the brand new 2023 WRX Subaru, and we're in some stop and go traffic. So I figured this is a perfect time to talk about what's it like to drive a manual versus a CVT, because I actually have 2 Subaru WRXs. I have a 2020 CVT, which is their automatic sports transmission. And then I have this newer WRX 2023 that has a manual transmission. So how does the clutch feel? So I was a little bit worried about, I've been staying away from stick shifts lately in the cars that I've been buying. There we go. I was getting ready to say I have yet to stall this car, but I just now stalled it. But there's something cool about this car. It actually has an automatic brake it has hill assist basically. So it puts the brake on when you let off of I let off of the brake and the brake was on while I'm on a hill, so the car doesn't roll backwards. So that's something that I like. Now I don't think you can turn it off. So if you don't like that, good luck trying to turn it off. I actually saw a video where somebody figured out how to turn it off. But for me, I like that, because there's a lot of hills in Medellin, and I don't want to be rolling backwards. So the hill assist for me is perfectly fine. Now, how does the clutch feel? I was worried about the clutch being a little bit too heavy and wearing my knee out on my left leg, like having to push in the clutch every time. But actually, the clutch feel is pretty awesome. My knee is not fatigued at all. Feels fine. Having zero issues. The clutch feel is on a scale of 1 to 10. I would give the clutch feel a 10 out of 10. Now, clutch engagement. I mean, the car has 250 plus, like to 265 horsepower, somewhere around that range, right? So clutch engagement, I'm not. It's all-wheel drive as well, so I'm not gonna be like abusing the clutch, dropping the clutch, trying to break loose the rear wheel tires or anything like that. So I haven't had to really get into the clutch engagement and abuse the clutch to that degree. But maybe in a future video we'll do that, right? We'll get rowdy with this thing and take it on a rally for real. But I just had to report that the clutch feel is a 10 out of 10 for this kind of car. So 2 thumbs up on the clutch. So let's talk a little bit about the handling in the WRX. I'm actually going to give the handling a 9.5 out of 10. I've been driving a little bit spirited so far. I'm going to drive a little bit now. The handling is good. It's a well-balanced car. Like, when you look at how much power it has, very well-balanced car. Sure-footed, don't have to worry about losing traction or anything like that. But yeah, I'll give the handling a 9.5 out of 10. And I'm driving on a curvy road here in Colombia, so the handling better be good. You got motorcycles and stuff everywhere. Check it out. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video review of my 2023 Subaru WRX. If you like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up, give this video a like, and also make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content with the Subaru WRX or my adventures in Colombia or me having fun and sharing the experiences with my supercars back in Ohio. So hit that like button and make sure to subscribe. But this is your boy Will Motivation. See you in the next video.
It's the one and only Floyd Money Mayweather. I'm here to tell you guys to go to Wheel Motivation. The exotic cars is crazy. I've been watching this show for a little while now and it's growing. But we need everybody else to subscribe to Wheel Motivation and support Wheel. I'm supporting them. You do the same.